I was showing some work in Glasgow and afterwards I was planning on returning to Dundee, but there was work on the train lines between Perth and Dundee, so loads of the trains were going via Edinburgh. I snuck back to Edinburgh for the night. I had every intention of going back to university, but I bumped into my friend unexpectedly and she invited me to see an exhibition with her. It was sunny and I didn't really want to go back, so I obliged. My bag was really heavy, so I put it into a locker. It was £1 for a small one. I didn't get the pound back. Look at the swimming pool. It fell down into a little locked box. The exhibition was free on Mondays, so I didn't mind as much. Thinking about swimming pool lockers, I remember the pool that I used to go to when I was wee, called Waterworld. It doesn't exist anymore. Afterwards I walked back out into the gardens. It was that sort of day where if the sun is shining on you then it's warm, but if not it reinforces the fact that it's not quite summer yet. The lack of leaves on the trees is also a glaring reminder. Also, the grass had not yet managed to be relayed from the damage caused by the Christmas markets 4 months earlier. Just as well it was not really hot, or I would have probably been upset by tourism's impact on the residents after the event is over. I scrolled through my phone trying to remember who my friends in Edinburgh were and thought about who would be in town. I managed to arrange a dinner at a burger place with my friend as she finished work. She missed the bus and I had 20 minutes or so to wait for her. I headed up Coburn Street wondering what to do with myself: walk about a shop, go to a gallery, pre-eat some food. I decided I wanted to enjoy some more sun. The high buildings were blocking most of the street, so I was looking for a park to sit in. Nicholson Street Square sits snuggled amongst the tenements, providing a small patch of grass much needed on a sunny day. It was a while since I'd been able to sit about, with no purpose, in the city, so it was nice but also felt strange. Being at such a busy junction of transport, it's not exactly the place people would choose for a spring picnic, more for people in transit. Anyway, I sat down. There was a man standing near the bench, so I was apprehensive, as normally in public it is only acceptable to sit as far away from other people in the space as is physically possible. But there was only one bench and he was standing next to it. A few seconds after I sat down he left, so it was okay. I was also hesitant about sitting on the bench as there were a lot of pigeons walking around, but as I said, there wasn't much choice. They were making a cooing noise and wandering about. There was about 100 of them, maybe more, maybe less. I've never been very good at judging the number of people in a crowd. What does 1,000 bodies look like? They were just pottering about. They are all so different in their patterns. We just pigeonhole them all into the category of grey pigeon. I'm sure in your head you have an image of a pigeon, but imagine 2 or 3 or 10. Are they all the same? Largely they seem to be all grey, but upon closer inspection they have so many colours: black and white and nice greens and purples. Everything looks a lot better when the sun shines. Have you seen them walking? No. Like, have you ever really looked at one? They are quite funny. I started to get bored of watching the pigeons and had a look at the space around me. Lots of buses were passing up and down on my right, going past the KFC that was next to the bank. Across from me was a row of shops and takeaway restaurants. Kebab Mahal is meant to be really good, but I've not been. There was a grocer's with an assortment fruit and vegetables displayed outside. With the sun shining on it, I almost felt like I was on holiday. As I started to look at it, the shop worker began to take it all inside. I was intent on watching him gradually take away all of the fruit and vegetables until none remained. I thought this would occupy my time waiting on my friend nicely. How far would he get in his task? Suddenly, though, in a fluttering of wings, all of the pigeons flew away simultaneously. I wondered if something had startled them and caused the sudden evacuation of the park, but nothing had happened and pigeons had really been bothered by sudden movements in the city anymore. This totally distracted me from the fruit and vegetable man, and I got caught up in thoughts about pigeons. What signal had been made that they had all left at the same time? Was there a pigeon up high that had spotted some food elsewhere and he had made a signal to them, or did they just have somewhere that they had to be at a certain time? Had somebody turned up that they didn't like? I suddenly felt very alone in the park. My pigeon pals had gone. I returned to watch the man putting away his fruit and vegetables and wondered if they would ever return. I looked to the skies and they seemed very birdless. Or if I did see a bird, it wasn't a pigeon. A few minutes passed and I noticed that a couple had begun to return, walking about near the bins. Another few minutes passed and they all started to be coming back. I don't know where they went and they didn't bring anything back with them. This park though, this seemed like it was their place, so I knew they would all be back soon. One by one they started to land on the grass and carry on as they were. I felt like my waiting time had been well spent. So much had come and gone as I sat in this park. I walked out through a bunch of the pigeons. At the gate one of them was walking in front of me, getting in my way, but as soon as he got to the threshold of the park he stepped aside and walked back towards his friends. I went to the bus stop and waited out the remainder of the time for my friend. She got off the number 5 bus and we went for dinner.